So what's going on, everybody? Today is day 11 of the league. I'm going to be doing a quick little recap of day 8, 9, and 10. I've actually been doing a bit of challenge hunting, not too hard on the challenges. So not too many updates to the build, though I did make a couple of big changes to the build. So a couple of people have been asking for some gameplay videos, and so I posted up a gameplay video of the build at that point in time. And it sparked some discussion in my Twitch chat, and also in one of the YouTube commenters was commenting about the sword that I was using. So originally I was using the Foulborn United in Dream sword, mainly for the quality of all minion skill gems. The Envy skill actually was good DPS, but it got me thinking, it's like, oh, you know, I've been actually having a lot of problems with survivability on the build, and so I was curious to know how big of a DPS loss would it be to switch over some damage nodes and also some items to focus more on character defense. So I actually dropped quite a bit of DPS according to the POB sheet, but in game the DPS still feels pretty strong. I've been clearing tier 17s and also have started killing Ubers. So I've completed 3 Ubers so far, 2 of the new ones, and then I got an Uber Cortex in. I actually have not had too many tier 17 map drops. I've only got like 2 left, and my fragments are scattered all over the place. So still looking to try to get the rest of the Uber challenges done, really. But I haven't had too many problems with Ubers with some of the changes that I made. So let's jump into some of the changes. So I reworked the tree quite a bit. I dropped this cluster right here. This was just giving me minion damage and also another mastery. Also dropped these 16% minion damage nodes, and I also swapped out the cluster jewel from my 12 passive to an 8 passive. So I lost like 1 more passive on the nodes that I had allocated, and it gave me an extra one. So with all those extra passives, I grabbed all the little life nodes that were all over the place. So like the 6% are very high value. So there's 6% there and there's 6% there, and then I grabbed the 5% there on top of the other 6% that are right here. And then at some point down the line, I actually went into these nodes too. So just trying to get as much defense as possible. So my life pool went from like 5.2k to like 5.9k or something. And then I gained a level, so I gained some extra max life, but then also changed out some of the items that I was using. So my ring, I was originally using a Chaos Res ring, but I got Chaos Res all over the place. I'm not capped Chaos Res anymore, I'm at 65%, but I was able to craft this ring so I can get a bigger life pool. I think my original ring had like 77 max life on this, so this one has 109 max life. This ring I just crafted with recombinators, so I just had a bunch of bone rings that I picked up in my stash, and so I alt spammed minion damage with a res, and then I alt spammed a res and max life, and then I recombed them together. So it took about 3 recombs. It was super easy to get, and I multi-modded the rest. I lost quite a bit of dexterity here, so going hand in hand with trying to get more defense. I decided to see if I dropped the 26 quality, so I went from the 52% breakpoint down to the 30% breakpoint on the CDR for the Holy Relic skill. Would having a Corsair sword with minion damage on there and the Bone Offering auto-triggering, would I end up losing too much damage in exchange for ensuring that my Bone Offering was up 100% of the time? The answer to that's no. So the DPS feels pretty fine. It is a noticeable loss in damage, but in terms of the kill times, the boss kill times have been pretty reasonable. I will post the 3 Uber kills that I have so far. I ended up dying on, I think I ended up only dying once on Uber Cortex due to a player skill issue. I was standing in the degen puddle during a transition phase, and I just wasn't paying attention. I think I looked over at Twitch chat for a second because it was doing an intermission, and I stood right inside a degen puddle and I just died. I actually watched the clip back and I was like, wait, why did I get one shot? It wasn't a one shot. I literally stood in the degen puddle for like 3 seconds and I died. And then on Theater of Lies, or not Theater of Lies, on the Incarnation of Fear. I think that's the fire boss. No problems with that one. Didn't die though. I was my AG and both my specters died. And then on Incarnation of Neglect, I died to some slams that I was having a hard time figuring out where the slams were coming from, and so I took a couple of deaths there. I actually got farmed a little bit. I think I used 2 portals on that. So really, all the deaths were not really a result of the build being bad defensively, but more about the player being bad. so that's good. I am going to continue to progress through as many Ubers as I can. Like I said, I got 2 more tier 17 maps to go, so I don't have very many. Back to the gear. The other item, like I said, I changed the sword out. So this sword, I also recombinated. So I have not spec'd into essences. So I used Harvest to swap a bunch of other essences to Shrieking Essence of Fear. I really should have done the Deafening because of the way that I ended up crafting it. So what I first started was trying to figure out what sword base I could use with how little dexterity I had. So I went with a Corsair sword base. Corsair sword has 1.55 base attack speed. I haven't started heisting. A lot of people use the Anachronistic or the Anarchy Spirit Blade or something from from Heist. And that sword has reasonable stat requirements in terms of dexterity, and it also has 1.6 attacks per second. So that's why people are using that one. But first I started just trying to spam my Fear Essences, trying to get good attack speed. But after a couple of tries, I was like, I don't have very many resources to continue doing this. So what I ended up doing was I ended up getting Corsair sword bases from Faustus. I was gambling for sword bases, and I had a bunch of Corsair swords, and then I basically alt spammed for T1 attack speed on one of them. And then on the other Corsair sword, I hit it with one of the Essences of Fear that I had. And then I hit it with a PoE 2 style Recombinator. So the way I did the sword craft was I took one of the Corsair sword bases and I hit it once with an Essence of Fear like this. So it has the Essence, 67 to 82% increased damage. That's the only one that I had. I didn't have any deafenings, or I didn't really want to use deafenings because I, had limited resources. And then I alt spammed, or I alchemy spammed for increased attack speed. All the other modifiers don't matter. And I literally just took it to the Recombinator and did a PoE 2 style Recombinator. So selecting the Essence mod and then the attack speed. It's a 15% chance. So it's actually a pretty high chance. It only took me 2 attempts to get a sword that ended up looking like the sword that I have on right now. Basically just the prefix and the suffix attack speed. So this I can further modify using multi-mod. Hits cannot be evaded, but I literally just crafted the trigger mod on there. And in fact, let's take a look and see what happens. Let's go grab some gold here from the King's March, and we'll see, will this sword recomb together with the PoE 2 recomb. So look, and that one bricked. But I mean, that's how I was able to craft this one. So yeah. Those are the main gear changes that I did with the build. Like I said, mainly to try to get a bunch of defense. Ended up getting almost 6.2k life here. Ended up dropping the gold flask to have another life flask because I was having some problems with degens, but that was when I had like 5.2k life. So it's been pretty fine. The second life flask is still kind of nice, so I'm gonna keep using it. In terms of next steps, like I said, I'm nearing the end of the time with this build. I'm working my way through Ubers. I've proved that it can do Ubers on a limited budget, at least, well, the budget that I had in Solo Self-Found. The next item that I'm thinking about using is this Bone Meld. I got this, I would need to divine it for, +2 level of minion skill gems, but I heard it's like a 10 divine. It's like 10 divines on average to get that up. In fact, here, let me try it. Let me just hit it with 1 divine. Boom. Okay, we actually got it. But low attribute requirements. What I'm looking for is, or the downside is, I'm gonna have a big problem with dexterity. So if I were to use this amulet, I have to figure out a way to solve for dexterity to even use these swords. It might end up even multi-modding, crafting a dex roll on the sword or something just to be able to even wield the sword. So, but that's just kind of like, you know, further augmenting the build. I feel like the build's in a good spot right now. I don't think that I'm going to make too many more changes at this point. I will be posting some Uber kill videos. Like I said, I've got 3 Ubers down. I'm going to continue to try to work my way through more Ubers. Though, like I said, I've only got 2 more tier 17 maps. I might actually just start leveling the next build and waiting for the next PoE patch, or I might just blast tier 16s and try to find some tier 17 maps. But yeah, the next build's gonna be a Retal build, so I'm gonna use Gladiator Retaliation for a number of reasons. I got a physical damage, Light of the Meaning. This thing's like 9 divines. I think it was 10 divines when I first got it. And then I also ended up getting a Rislatha belt drop, so that's kind of cool. So I did play Retaliation builds before when it first came out, but I didn't actually take it very far. I ended up getting to like level 82 before I got bored of it. The reason why I got bored is because I had already cleared all the challenges of the league, and so usually when I clear all the challenges, I lose interest in playing PoE. So I wanted to give it another try, especially with how the tree is. I'm trying to craft weapons. So far, I have only gotten 1 axe, and it's not very good, but I'm working on trying. I got a bunch of these swords. Maybe I'll use a sword instead for Blade Storm. I don't know. I don't think you can use Eviscerate with swords, unless you can. Let me take a look. Eviscerate. Yeah, it uses a sword or axe, and then what about Crushing Fist? Crushing Fist. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So maybe I'll just end up using the swords. I don't know. I'm not sure what the base types are. If these are any good base types, probably not. It also requires a huge amount of dexterity, so probably won't even end up using it. But anyways, that's gonna be the next build. But the last thing that I need to mention is I changed up my AG and my Spectres quite a bit. So going over to my POB, on my AG gear, I ended up getting a Garb of the Ephemeral from a Cortex drop. I actually target farmed this. I was like, oh, I'm getting critted a lot. A lot of the times that I ended up getting one shot was due to having a crit mod on the map. So I ran all my synth maps to get as many Cortexes as possible, and like on the 3rd Cortex, I got this Garb of the Ephemeral drop. So I put this on my AG instead of the Belly of the Beast. And then in terms of Spectres, I just changed the Spectre around. I've always been using Carnage Chieftain for Frenzy Charge game, but I got a Perfect Forest Warrior. Perfect Forest Warriors have Onslaught, and so Onslaught doesn't affect the Holy Relics, but it makes playing the character feel nice because I'm running around with Onslaught pretty much permanently. So it does make the character actually feel nicer to play. Another thing is, in terms of swapping the amulet out, this is Slayer Cull, but this Perfect Forest Warrior also has Culling Strike built into it. So that's also another thing that I could do in terms of swapping out this Onyx amulet. Like I said, the main thing that this amulet's giving me is a bunch of stats, and then a little bit of the non-curse auras, and then the Slayer Cull. So, but yeah. Anyways. That's it for the changes for the build, and that's it for the video for today. I'll be posting some Uber kill videos and maybe some more build updates if I make any big changes, but I don't think I'm going to make too many changes at this point of the build. Like I said, I'm working on potentially swapping over to a Gladiator Retaliation style build. I'm going to go into Bleed. I looked at using Elementalist in terms of a Retal skill. A lot of people say that Elementalist Ignite ends up being better, but I don't have the gear to enable that, so I will just be going Bleed. But yeah, anyways, thanks for hanging out, boys. I will catch you on the next one. Peace out. Bye.